I'd been biting my tongue for weeks, waiting for the right moment. Until that Sunday when his knuckles cracked against my cheekbone right there on the steps of Riverside Community Church in Elmwood, Ohio. Marcus snarled something about betrayal, his face twisted in rage, completely unaware of the badges flashing behind him and the cameras already rolling. "We're here for accountability," a steady voice cut through the chaos. "And for every dollar you've stolen from this congregation." I looked up through the sting, seeing the truth finally catch up to the man who'd ruled our family like a small-town king. "My name is Sophia Reed, and for the past 6 years I've overseen compliance for Meridian Health Corporation's charitable giving program. It's meticulous work, tracking matching grants, verifying nonprofit audits, ensuring every contribution actually reaches food pantries, youth centers, and medical clinics across the Midwest. I took pride in it. Knowing our dollars built real impact helped me sleep at night. Until the day I spotted my stepfather's fingerprints all over irregularities in our donations to Riverside. It began innocently enough with a mismatched routing number on a roofing invoice. Marcus Hale Construction had billed the church for $52,000 in materials for the sanctuary roof repair, but the original contractor bid had been closer to $26,000. Then came more phantom supply deliveries, inflated labor hours, change orders that existed only on paper. Over 18 months, 29 invoices funneled money from Meridian's community fund through the church's building maintenance account straight into Marcus's business. I cross-referenced everything late one night in my apartment, spreadsheets glowing on my screen while rain tapped the windows. "Sophia, this touches the church," my best friend and coworker Lena said the next morning, peering over my shoulder as her latte went cold. "People trust these places. Exactly why no one digs too deep," I replied, highlighting line after line of discrepancies. Steel beams listed at double market rate. Deliveries signed off without verification. Classic procurement fraud wrapped in hymns and potlucks. That evening I endured another family dinner at the house, where I'd grown up after my dad left when I was 12. Marcus presided at the head of the table, my mother Claire serving his favorite meatloaf while he bragged about upcoming church projects. "Ethan's taking lead on the new community hall crew," he announced, clapping my half-brother on the back. Ethan, fresh out of trade school and grateful for the opportunity, grinned. I cut my food methodically. "Business must be booming with all these church contracts," I said evenly. Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Something on your mind, Sophia?" Claire's hand paused on her glass, that familiar freeze whenever conflict brewed. Marcus launched into his usual lecture about serving the Lord and how I spent too much time buried in corporate red tape instead of fellowship. I smiled the polite compliance meeting smile I'd mastered. My mistake. Later, alone in my old bedroom, I opened my laptop and started a parallel handwritten log, names, dates, amounts, because digital trails could vanish. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Saw you asking questions at the last building committee meeting." The shingles never showed up. R.G. Robert Grayson, the church's retired volunteer treasurer who'd quietly flagged issues for months. I replied asking to meet privately. He suggested the church basement at dawn the next day. Through the walls, I heard Marcus snoring in front of the TV, Claire's soft footsteps pausing outside my door. Meridian had directed nearly $420,000 to Riverside over 3 years. If even half of Marcus's invoices were bogus, that was serious theft, not just from the church, but from every legitimate applicant turned away when funds ran short. I thought about the after-school programs, the domestic violence shelter, the free clinic that could have used that money. Sunday dinners turned tense fast. Marcus sketched hall expansion plans on a napkin while Claire passed the salad. "Copper wiring alone will run 45 grand, he said. I kept my tone neutral. That seems steep compared to current market rates. His pencil stopped. "What would you know about it?" pushing papers at that pharma company. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. Claire poured water too quickly. I explained accountability was part of my role. Marcus laughed without warmth. Accountability? Rich coming from someone skipping services lately. When I pushed back mildly, the room chilled. He stood, looming. Careful. This family's respected here. When one person drifts, people notice. They talk. I mentioned inventory questions. His voice dropped dangerously. You've been nosing around asking Robert Grayson about supplies? You think I don't hear? He placed heavy hands on Claire's shoulders. She flinched but stayed silent. Marcus Hale Construction has served this town 22 years. Built half the decent buildings in 3 counties. You want to tear that down over paperwork? I met his gaze. I want the truth. He stepped closer, positioning between me and the exit. Truth is you're playing with fire. Family should come first. Sophia. Your mother's place in the community. Ethan's future. All of it on the line because you need to feel righteous. The threat lingered as I left. In my car I shook, then opened my secure folder of evidence. Marcus had no idea how costly his version of Family First was about to become. The county prosecutor's office sat on the 5th floor of the municipal building downtown, smelling of stale coffee and overdue justice. I laid my evidence across ADA Elena Vargas's desk, printouts, spreadsheets, photos of unsigned delivery logs. Solid work, she said, scanning pages. But understand this is your stepfather. Once we open this, no turning back. No pretending at Thanksgiving. I nodded. I'd counted the cost. She warned about backlash. Lost relationships. Community pushback. I'd already lost sleep over it. The case potentially involved conspiracy, wire fraud, maybe RICO if the pattern extended. We needed to move carefully. No more solo snooping. I became a witness only. Warrants would handle church files. Detective Sam Torres from Financial Crimes joined us, quiet, sharp-eyed, methodical. They proposed a controlled sting. Meridian announces a $220,000 matching grant for Riverside's new Community Hall addition. Conditional on competitive bidding. Itemized receipts. Photo proof of materials on site. And multi-board sign-offs. Marcus would likely overreach. Desperation breeds errors. They'd identified shell entities tied to variations of his name, and even Claire's on one LLC. Forged signatures. Torres suspected. I felt sick confirming it didn't match her handwriting. The plan required me to keep up normal appearances, family dinners, church events, while surveillance went up on public grounds around the church. No home bugs to avoid tipping him. I signed statements, evidence logs. Walking out into the golden autumn light over Elmwood, my phone lit up with Claire texting about a family meeting on the hall project. I replied I'd attend. Torres gave me his direct line. Vargas stressed the razor edge between legitimate pressure and entrapment. The weeks ahead would be dangerous, as he sensed the net closing. Committee meetings grew electric. In the church basement under humming fluorescents, Marcus dominated the table with blueprints. I sat representing Meridian. When I insisted on 3 competitive bids per policy for grants over $50,000, the room quieted. He tried invoking family trust. Margaret Lowry, a longtime member, supported transparency. Another board member noted missing receipts from prior work. Marcus deflected, threatened quietly to sideline the volunteer handling inventory. Pastor Ellis stepped in mildly but firmly, backing proper procedures. Alone afterward, Marcus cornered me. You think corporate rules trump 20 years here? Relationships I've built. His voice low. This could leak the roof during services. Congregation will blame you. I held steady. Or they'll see accountability. Uncertainty flickered in his eyes for the first time. He warned about my job. Reputation. How accusations without proof could backfire. I left knowing cameras outside had captured it. The grand announcement made local news. Marcus called repeatedly, furious. I answered once. What have you done? I explained public bidding. He demanded a family dinner. I chose the church ceremony instead. Local press would attend. His threats escalated in voicemails I forwarded to Torres. I maintained the facade, but tension built. Robert Grayson slipped me more copied records under my wiper, discrepancies spanning years. Claire texted warnings quietly. The pressure was cracking Marcus's control. He grew sloppy, confronting people publicly. Torres called. He's isolating himself. Keep going. The Harvest Festival morning dawned crisp. Pumpkins lined the walks. Cider scents filled the air. Kids laughed at games. But plainclothes officers mingled. Cameras watched entrances. I arrived early. Body cam active. Marcus's truck had been spotted nearby. Pastor Ellis had informed leaders of the protective order. Still, we knew he'd try something. I served cider. Staying visible. At 2:50 p.m., commotion erupted. Marcus emerged from the old maintenance tunnel using master keys from his years on facilities. He strode across the lawn in work clothes, projecting authority. Beautiful day for community. The crowd froze. Pastor Ellis approached. Marcus, you can't be here. Marcus boomed about the church he built, moving toward the steps where I stood. Officers converged discreetly. I stepped forward. Restraining order violation. He ignored. Climbing steps. Launching into claims I was vindictive. Fixated since my dad left. Twisting my past college struggles into instability. The crowd murmured. Phones recorded. I stayed calm. The only theft here was yours, documented over years. He lunged closer. You have no idea. Detective Torres and team closed in. Time to go. Mr.
Hale.
Marcus spun. Hand raised. And struck my cheek hard. Pain exploded. Blood on my lip. But I faced him. You never saw who stood behind you. The wall of witnesses, board members. Robert. Margaret. Pastor Ellis. Officers stared back. News cameras rolled. ADA Vargas displayed records on a tablet. Arrest for fraud. Embezzlement. Assault. Handcuffs clicked. Marcus struggled, claiming ownership. We owe you nothing but justice, Pastor Ellis said. As they led him away, bells tolled, Robert pulling ropes manually. The festival witnessed the empire's fall.